Only 3 minutes left. A person in heaven who you love very much begged to send this. Archangel Michael says do not skip this. Open immediately. My beloved child, listen carefully. If you trust in God, type Amen. Some moments don't begin with noise. They begin with stillness. This one began with a whisper. A whisper that wasn't made of words, but of memory. Of longing. Of love that refused to forget. And that whisper has crossed time, distance, and dimensions to reach you now. In a place far beyond our skies, where time doesn't rush and silence carries meaning deeper than language, someone spoke your name. Not out of grief, but out of love. Someone who once held your hand. Someone whose laughter you still hear on quiet nights. Someone whose absence still feels like a missing rhythm in your day. That someone is not gone. They've just stepped into light. And in that light, they have done something extraordinary. They have asked for you. Not for attention. Not for permission. But for connection. They've waited for the moment when your heart would be still enough, open enough, to hear the message they could never deliver while on earth. And now, Archangel Michael stands beside them, not as a messenger of fear, but as a guardian of truth. He has watched you grow through the weight of silence. Through the fog of unanswered questions. Through the ache of missing pieces. And now, Heaven agrees, it's time. Time to receive what was always meant to reach you. This message isn't just a message. It's a sacred unfolding. The pages are made of memory. The ink is soaked in love. And the words were formed by a heart that never stopped beating for you, even after its earthly rhythm ended. Michael doesn't speak right away. He waits, for your breath to slow, for your heart to soften, for your soul to recognize that what's about to come isn't coming at you. It's coming for you. Not to overwhelm, but to remind. To place in your hands a piece of your story that was once withheld by circumstance, by timing, by life moving too fast to pause. Now, life has paused. Heaven has opened a window. And through that sacred window, this message is flying, not as a warning, but as an embrace. Not to alarm, but to awaken something inside you that already knows, this moment matters. You may have felt it coming. In the sudden chills for no reason. In the quiet tears that surprised you. In the memories that returned out of nowhere, vivid and full. That was not random. That was resonance. The soul you miss has been sending signals, gentle, respectful, never forceful, hoping you'd be ready to feel what they couldn't say before. And now you are. This is not the beginning of something new. This is the continuation of something ancient. A bond that never broke. A thread that never frayed. A love that never died. And as you read these words, know this, you are not alone. You have never been forgotten. You have always been held. And now, what they've been holding on to in heaven, is finally ready to be placed in your hands. You won't hear their voice in the usual way. It won't echo in your ears or arrive through thunder. It will appear quietly, like a thought you didn't create. A memory you didn't plan to revisit. But in that space, where thought becomes soul and memory becomes message, they will speak. And what they say won't be dressed in explanation or apology. It will be wrapped in love. A love that had to wait until now to be understood fully. I never meant to leave with so much unsaid, their voice reaches you now. I never wanted the last moment to be the final one. There were still things I wanted you to know. Things I was afraid to say, or didn't know how to say back then. But I can say them now. Because here, in this place beyond time, there is no fear. Only truth. Only love. Only clarity. They continue, not in words, but in waves. Each wave carrying a memory you didn't know they carried with them. The way they watched you when you weren't looking. The times they smiled at your joy, even when they were in pain. The pride they never spoke aloud, but felt with every beat of their heart. The gratitude they had for just being part of your world, even when life didn't let them say it out loud. I saw you, they whispered gently. I saw your struggle. I saw how hard you tried to stay strong. I saw the way you kept going, even when it would have been easier to fall apart. I saw you put others first, even when your own heart was breaking. And I want you to know this, I noticed. And I carried every one of those moments with me. You feel the weight of those words, not as pressure, but as comfort. Because this isn't about making anything right. This is about lifting what was left behind. The misunderstandings. The unanswered questions. The quiet assumptions that hurt more than anyone ever knew. I didn't get to say it then, they say, but I say it now. I'm sorry for every moment you felt alone. For the times I couldn't give you what you needed. For the words I left unsaid, and the love I didn't always know how to show. But I loved you. And I still do. Not from distance. From presence. Not from regret. From remembrance. Their voice doesn't tremble. It wraps around you like a warm wind, one that doesn't ask for forgiveness, it offers completion. It doesn't demand tears, it invites release. And as they continue, something within you begins to shift. Not in sadness. In sacred surrender. You were the best part of my life, they say now, without hesitation. You were the light I didn't always know how to walk toward. You were the reason I believed in good things, even when the world was heavy. And I want you to know. I never left your side. Not really. I've been right here. Whispering. Watching. waiting for the moment your heart would open to mine again. Now that your heart has softened enough to receive their voice, there is one more thing they must give you. And this is not a message made of words. It is a truth wrapped in silence, preserved carefully in a space beyond time. Something they carried with them when they crossed over. Something they were never able to express while here. A gift, not of gold or glory, but of remembrance. Of identity. They begin to show it to you not in images, but in feeling. It starts in your chest, a warmth, like being seen for the first time without needing to explain anything. A feeling of returning to yourself. To a version of you that existed before the world asked you to prove anything. Before the weight of expectations. Before the silence of loss. I left you something, their voice says now, both soft and sure. Not in a drawer. Not in a letter. But in your spirit. A seed. I placed it there the day I realized I wouldn't be staying much longer. I didn't want to burden you with it then. I wanted it to bloom only when your soul was ready. And now, it is. You may not see it. You may not even know what it is yet. But something inside you recognizes what they're speaking about. That feeling you've had your whole life, that quiet sensitivity, that deep knowing, that unexplainable empathy, it wasn't random. It wasn't weakness. It was the gift they left you. The part of their spirit they entrusted to your care. You've always carried more than you knew, they say gently. And now, I want you to stop carrying it in silence. I want you to use it. The love I gave you didn't end. It transformed. It's living in your intuition. In your art. In your words. In your patience. In your ability to hold space for others, even when you don't have all the answers. This gift is not something you must figure out. It's something you must trust. It's the reason some people are drawn to you without knowing why. The reason children feel safe around you. The reason strangers open up to you as if they've known you forever. You are carrying the vibration of someone who loved deeply and now walks between worlds. Their gift is active. And the more you honor it, the stronger it becomes. Don't doubt what you feel, they whisper. That deep pull inside you isn't confusion. It's memory. It's legacy. It's the part of me that still lives through you. And now, they place it fully in your hands. Not to burden you, but to free you. To let you walk forward knowing that what you've been feeling all along wasn't your imagination. It was inheritance. Spiritual. Sacred. Chosen. Archangel Michael stands still, watching, not as protector now, but as witness. Because this gift, this soul-passed torch, is not a task. It's a truth. And heaven is watching as it takes root, finally, completely, inside you. You didn't wake up the next morning and feel fireworks. That's not how sacred things arrive. They come softly, unannounced. They weave themselves into your life until one day, you realize, something has changed. You have changed. And the change didn't need a trumpet. It needed only one thing: space. The gift they left for you, that seed they whispered into your soul before they crossed over, didn't arrive with a manual. It doesn't shout. It doesn't demand. It only responds to your stillness, to your honesty, to the moments you decide to listen inward instead of outward. And that's exactly what began to happen. You start to notice it first in the pauses, the way you now sit with your own emotions a little longer before trying to escape them. The way you give yourself time to feel, without needing to perform strength. That is the beginning. That's the gift blooming. It continues in how you show up for others, not trying to fix them, not trying to impress them, just being present. Your presence now carries a different weight, a quiet clarity. People don't know what's shifted, but they feel it. You're no longer reacting. You're responding. You're no longer racing. You're returning, back to yourself, to your center, to the part of you they always believed in. You were always meant to carry light, their voice seems to say now, not as instruction, but as recognition. Not because you're perfect, but because you know how it feels to walk through darkness. This gift doesn't make you louder. It makes you clearer. You begin to say less, but your words carry more. You start to need less, but you offer more. You walk through your days no longer searching for signs, but quietly becoming one. And slowly, life shifts. The right people start appearing. Not flashy, but real. The wrong patterns begin fading, not through struggle, but through irrelevance. You stop entertaining chaos. Not because you're cold, but because peace is now your home. That is the bloom. Not a sudden breakthrough, but a gentle, permanent return to alignment. And as that alignment settles in, you begin to feel the presence of the one who sent this gift, not above you, not behind you, but with you. Always. Through your hands, your eyes, your decisions, your softness. You realize the gift wasn't about doing something grand. It was about remembering something true. That you were never lost. You were only waiting to grow into the person who could finally receive what was always yours. And now, you have. There's always something left unsaid between souls. Not because the love wasn't strong enough, but because time, life, emotion, they move so fast, and we assume we'll always have more of it. But when someone crosses over, what remains isn't silence. It's all the words they didn't get to say, pressing softly against the walls of heaven, waiting for a heart strong enough, still enough, open enough, to finally receive them. And now, you are that heart. So they speak again, not urgently, not dramatically. Just honestly. Gently. As if sitting beside you, the way they would have if they'd had just one more hour. I tried to be strong in front of you, they begin, because I thought it was my job to carry the heaviness alone. But you were stronger than I knew. I wish I had let you in more. I wish I had said it more clearly, I needed you, too. There's no guilt in their voice. No weight they're trying to put on your shoulders. Just truth. Clean. Quiet. Full of light. They aren't trying to fix the past. They're letting it breathe. They're letting it close, not with regret, but with respect. You always looked at me like I knew everything, they say now, but I didn't. I was afraid. Of losing time. Of not being enough. Of you seeing the parts of me that didn't have it all figured out. And now, from this place where fear doesn't live, I wish I had been more open. Because what you needed wasn't my strength. It was my presence. And you understand them. Not through logic. But through something deeper. You understand because you've carried those same hesitations. You've hidden your own feelings. You've smiled through your own pain. And now, hearing them say these things, you realize, their soul isn't just sharing a message. It's giving you permission. To drop the pressure. To stop performing. To live more honestly, even when it's messy. You don't have to hold it all together anymore, they say, their voice as soft as breath. You're allowed to be seen. You're allowed to be carried. You don't need to be everything for everyone. Just be true to yourself. That's more than enough. They pause. Not because they've run out of things to say. But because some truths don't need repetition. They just need space. And now that it's been said, something unspoken between you begins to heal. You don't need to wonder anymore what they really felt. You don't need to replay old memories trying to decode what they meant. You know now. You feel it. They loved you. Fiercely. Quietly. Imperfectly. But they loved you in a way that never stopped, even now, it continues. Not in letters or dreams, but in how you love others. How you move through the world. How you speak, soften, sit with people. Their love didn't end. It transformed. And it continues through you. If I could give you one final gift, they say, it would be the freedom to stop doubting your worth. You were always enough. Always. And you still are. There is no curtain falling at the end of this message. No final page. Because some stories don't close, they continue in different forms. In the way you wake up a little softer. In the way your eyes hold light now, even on difficult days. In the way you pause when someone speaks, not to prepare a response, but to truly hear them. That's how this message lives on. Not just in memory, but in the fabric of who you are becoming. The soul who loved you, the one who reached out through heaven, through silence, through time itself, they are no longer speaking to you from afar. They are speaking through you. Through your instincts. Through your calm. Through your ability to forgive without losing your boundaries. Through your ability to love deeply without disappearing inside others. That's the mark of someone who carries spiritual legacy. Not loudly, but completely. They want you to know something simple. Something that changes everything. You were never abandoned. You were never walking alone. Even when I was gone in body, I was still there, in spirit, in signs, in the quiet guidance that nudged you forward when you didn't know why you were still standing. They don't say this to make you cry. They say it so you can stop carrying that question. So you can stop wondering if they know how much you've missed them. They do. They always did. You were never left behind. You were being led home, not to a place, but to a deeper version of yourself. One that doesn't perform strength anymore. One that knows strength isn't about how much you can hold in, but how freely you can hold others. And hold yourself. Without judgment. Without shame. Without needing to explain why your softness matters. You've become someone who doesn't run from silence anymore. Someone who can sit inside it. Not because you're empty, but because you're full. Full of presence. Full of knowing. Full of light that doesn't flicker when the world gets dim. That's what this letter has truly awakened, not just your connection to someone you lost, but your connection to who you've always been beneath the noise. And now, Michael speaks again. Not as a warning, but as a gentle reminder. You were the one they trusted to receive this. You were the one chosen to remember. And now that you have, walk forward, not with burden, but with reverence. Carry their love not as weight, but as wind. You may cry. That's okay. Those tears aren't weakness. They are recognition. A remembering. A return. And as they fall, you feel it. The shift. The blessing. The quiet completion that doesn't close the door, it opens it wider. Because now, you know this truth, love never leaves. It just learns to speak in ways we must grow quiet enough to hear. And now, you're listening. There was a moment when you may have thought this message was about them, the one who crossed over, the one whose voice you missed. But now, you realize, it was also about you. About who you've become. About the space you've created in your heart, so wide, so accepting, so still, that it could hold the voice of another soul, and not just hear it, but feel it. Not just understand it, but honor it. That's not something everyone can do. It takes spiritual courage, emotional maturity, a depth that can't be taught, only uncovered. And now that it's been uncovered in you, something powerful has shifted. You're not just the reader of this letter. You're the continuation of it. Everything they couldn't say, you now carry the permission to speak. Everything they didn't heal, you now carry the strength to soften. Everything they didn't finish, you are now walking forward with hands strong enough to complete it, not through effort, but through presence. Through compassion. Through simply being who you are, now that this truth has been restored to you. You are not just their memory. You are their echo. Their light. Their redemption. You are the living breath of a story that was paused but not ended. A chapter that heaven has trusted you to write, not with pressure, but with presence. With heart. With a voice that trembles sometimes, but never hides. A voice that speaks now for two. The signs will continue. Not as proof, but as poetry. You'll see things you used to overlook. A feather. A song. A sudden calm in a chaotic place. A stranger's words that feel too specific to be coincidence. That's how they'll speak now, not from the outside, but through your alignment. Because now that your spirit has opened, it doesn't need to search. It just needs to stay aware. And Archangel Michael? He no longer guards the message. He walks with you now, silently. Not to guide, but to affirm. That every step you take from here is sacred. Every breath you exhale from here is holy. Because you are no longer just living your story. You're completing a legacy, one that began in another heart, long before you realized they had chosen you to carry it home. If you believe in God, type Amen. Subscribe for more videos.